All right, welcome everybody. It's great to be back. It's great to see you again. We were in this venue back on the 30th of September. We had good timing then. Now I think it's good timing as well. Everybody, I think, feel really safe to be back. And it's great to have this sudden increase in people. You can see the stools in the back. There's been great interest for this event. And we're super happy at Telematics Valley. I hope you can hear us online. So we're having this set up as a hybrid. And obviously you're welcome to post questions in the Q&A session. There is microphone, but there will also be a chat function. And hopefully somebody can check the chat. Yeah, Petter.
Yes, so my name is Petter Järv, for you who don't know me, and I have been coordinating this event a little bit, and I would therefore like to have some feedback after the event. You can use, we don't do this with forms and stuff, you can just tell us, or you can use info@telematicsvalley.org. But there are two things specifically that I would like to have feedback upon. One is that today we have a new member lunch seminar. That means that two new members, Wireless Car and Aktia, they got the task to teach us something, right? To present something for us that of great value for everyone. And it should also be a little bit connected to each other. Now it's also connected to the car, so I think that will be fine. But that kind of concept that we ask new members to come in and share their knowledge before they kind of enter as general networking friends in Telematics Valley. And that is also important for those of you who might not be members yet, that this is also then an opportunity to get into the club if we do this. So we'd like to have feedback about that. The second thing is that we are now trying today, and for you who are online, we are behind a cafe at Lindholmen in Gothenburg. So we have a pretty nice, it's called KIT, this place. And we actually have the opportunity to reuse this like this today if we like it. We would have the possibility to have kind of like a mini expo kind of outside here. If someone from the members say, hey, I have something new to show, and then they can actually stand outside here. We'll have networking starting 12:15. There will be some food, some easy food, and I then want to have feedback on this concept because we can move it back to Lindholmspiren to the event center, but I think this is kind of cozy and nice. Okay.
And we want to direct a special thanks to Zenseact for hosting us. The facilities at Zenseact has been great help, both Hannah and Chantal, so that's great.
Yeah.
And we want to just punch for upcoming events. So on the 7th of April, we have another presentation that's Telematics Valley in collaboration with Drive Sweden. And we'll showcase a Drive Sweden project called AI Aware, where many of the Telematics Valley members participated. So please kind of stay tuned to the website, check out and make a placeholder for an afternoon after work session, the 7th of April. All right. And now I think it's over to Aktia and Christian.
Okay, so thank you very much for this introduction. And I got the question from Petter to make a presentation here today. It shouldn't be an Aktia presentation, it shouldn't be a product presentation, it should be something of general interest. So let's see if I can make that. First of all, for those of you who doesn't know Aktia very well, just a brief introduction. We are a tech center based in Mjärdevi Science Park, where we develop connectivity solutions for not only the automotive industry, but also for other things. We initially created the vision to do connectivity for everything that is moving. But we have to change the vision because now we also connected a medical container to transport COVID vaccine. So up to date, we have transported 841 million doses of COVID vaccine with our technology inside these refrigerated containers to make sure that there is an unbroken cold chain during the deliveries. So we had to change from something that not only has wheels, but also other type of products and machinery. So we connect passenger cars, trucks and buses, off-highway machinery, bicycles and motorcycles. We do in-house development, software and hardware and system, and we also have local production. So in Aktia Nordic, we have also an operation called Aktia EMS Sweden, where we also manufacture electronics, not only for our own purpose, but also for other customers. So today we have actually been pioneering in this area. We work together with, I imagine there are some people from Volvo Trucks here. We actually, together with the Volvo Truck tech team at the moment in 1994, we developed the first embedded fleet management system for trucks that was launched actually in 1994. So we've been pioneering the telematics area. And today we have more than 7 million units in daily use in more than 130 countries, which makes us a little bit unique. If you look at our competitors' footprint, you can see that in terms of countries we cover, I think we have some advantages there. So what do we connect then? I mentioned the container to freight COVID vaccine. We also do passenger cars all the way to bikes, and all the type of equipment you see down. It is type of equipment that we have connected over the years. So we belong to a group, a French group that is listed on the French stock exchange, but the majority of the company is still privately owned by 2 owner families. So today we are based, it's actually 24 companies based in 17 different countries. So we cover most of the countries where there is an automotive manufacturing, we have a subsidiary. And this is really essential, because when we speak about connectivity, we also need to speak about certification, because everything we develop needs to be certified. And in order to get the certification, for example, in China, we need presence in China. So we have presence in China, we have presence in Brazil, etc. All the countries which are complicated from a certification point of view, we have a presence. So our turnover is 530 million euros. So we are not a super large company. We are not small either. I'm saying that we are small enough to keep our innovation and flexibility and speed on the market, and large enough to afford it, because there is a cost equipped with being fast and rapid in technology. So we reinvest 13 to 15% of our turnover in R&D projects every year. And one of the largest investments done in the group ever is actually the new platform that we have developed in Linköping that is called ACO6, Aktia Connect Unit Generation 6. It is actually an investment of 15 million euros into that project, our own investment. So this is, if we look at the group portfolio, we are doing telematics, diagnostic, we are doing diagnostic systems for branded. We are doing, for example, for the Volkswagen Group, their VCI is developed by Aktia. So we are doing customer-specific designs for the VCIs, as well as also multi-brand solutions. We are doing electrical and hydraulic management, so we are doing multiplex systems. We are doing for the electromobility, we are doing the complete package. So if you're familiar with the Bolloré project in France, we have developed even the engine, we have done the power converters, and the only thing we didn't do in that project was the batteries, actually. We are also delivering and manufacturing batteries for heavy trucks, for trams, and for trains. So not for passenger cars. That is a different type of market. Okay, so multimedia systems for buses is also very present. So if you go to South America or Mexico, most of the buses there are equipped with Aktia equipment. Okay, so we step on it here. This is just to give you a flavor of the type of customers that we work with. So we are present in in the cross segment. We call it the cross segment area, where we reach passenger cars, heavy truck and buses, and also yellow machines. Okay, so now to the day's seminar. So I just wanted to give you a brief introduction to Aktia. Connected Car Essentials. I said to Petter when he gave me this title, I said I will not only speak about cars, because we want to connect more than four-wheelers. We also want to connect two-wheelers, for example. And we have several motorcycle brands coming on board now, being connected with our technology, which is really, really nice and also very specific and challenging from a technical perspective. Because the motorbikes is not only to supervise the bike, to keep track of where it is is also requiring high performance GNSS. Because if you are racing, you need to know the angle that you lean on with the bike, you know the speed, and also centimeter precision on the track, so that you can measure the performance and you can improve yourself during the drives, and you can record the driving you do and improve by that. So we kick off here. We see that what is the connectivity? For those of you who are not familiar, because Petter told me that we need to take it from the basics also. So I will try to just give you some flavors. What is connectivity to us, to Aktia? We say that BMS, battery management system, that is for us connectivity for batteries. So that is one part we are developing. Over-the-air download is of course super important for this kind of systems. Telematic services, the way you can control things, you can unlock the car, you can remote start a heater, or you can remote supervise and service and maintain a material handling truck, for example. Those type of services are what we call telematic services. Diagnostics, as I mentioned here, the heritage of Aktia when we were founded, to take a step back to history, when Aktia was founded in 1986, it was actually a spin-off from Renault passenger cars. It was 4 guys from the diagnostic department at Renault at the time in 1986. You all remember there was not so much electronics in the car at that time. And these guys said, electronics will actually come into the vehicles. Let's start a company and let's start to focus on the diagnostic solutions for these type of electronics. So it was really early. And that part of Aktia is still remaining the same. We focus a lot on the diagnostic area. And as we are now combining connectivity with diagnostics, we can do quite a lot of interesting stuff. So that means we can remotely monitor the full diagnostics of a vehicle, and we can also download software to not only our own device, but also to other devices in the vehicles. So that is what we define as connectivity. So next, what is happening on the market? The market is moving a lot faster. And a typical engineering project to the automotive business was not so long ago, 18 months. From start of production, it was 18 months. We see that this is decreasing a lot. We have several new customers coming on board, which is new companies that you most likely haven't heard of a few years back. So they are really new companies, but they are also taking a lot of shortcuts. So their development cycle is more close to 9 months than 18 months. And this is of course challenging also the current automotive industry. Everybody has to move faster. So this is one of the challenges that we need to meet and be aware of. The next one, the business models are also transforming. So cars, trucks, entrepreneurial machinery, also available for leasing per hour or permission. So we see that this trend is actually opening up a larger need for connectivity, because if you want to lease a machine, for example, you're not buying a machine to dig a hole, you buy the hole instead. That is a big difference, and in order to do that, you need to have the connectivity. You need to be charged per hour or per usage. You need to make sure that if you lease something, the OEM actually owns the equipment. Then you need to be able to to charge per usage. You need to make sure that your asset is managed in a good way. So that means you need to have this kind of technology in order to monitor the service and maintenance of the machinery. So the transport market is also moving a lot. We are standard fit in all Toyota material handling trucks, for example. And we see they are changing a lot in their world. Everything is changing because we go from lifting heavy pallets into moving small packages. And you can understand this transfer as all of you have ordered products from the internet, I imagine. And you don't order a pallet, you order a box. So this is changing also the packet industry. So here, for me, what I believe is the most interesting and challenging is that we have one foot in so many different business areas, and we can utilize the knowledge between the different programs in order to build new features and functions between the different cross-segment areas. And that is really interesting. So here we see tracing and tracking of goods is really vital and important. So for example, when you order your box from Amazon and you log in to on your mobile phone and see where your package is, then you need connectivity in order to see where your box is heading and where it's reloaded stepwise. So consequently, moving from sales to leasing, OEM will remain the ownership. And that means also you need to manage, because it's a financial issue that you need to manage as well. And in order to do so, you need to keep close track of your asset. And we see that in many different industries. So if we take again Toyota as an example, they have changed completely from selling their products to leasing their products. So today, 60% of their business is leasing. So there's a big change. So next, if we take and add the environmental issues that we are all struggling with, we see that in order to measure methane gas from lakes in Sweden, there is a professor at the University in Linköping collecting data from this. Because today, I was not aware of this, but he explained to me that a lot of the information in this environmental data, that is actually estimated data, not really measured. So what he is doing is trying to measure real life data in order to get the right data on the table in order to make the right decisions. So for that reason, how do you collect the data, I asked him. He said, we have these buckets, upside down buckets in lakes, and we collect the methane gas. We have some sensors inside so we can measure that. But how do you get the data into shore? That was a bit complicated. So now we can connect with our device and transfer the data from the lake and make it more efficient for him. Also from the barns where you have cows, we can measure the exhaust from these barns in order to measure the methane gas also there. In order to reach the environmental targets, electrification is one very important driver, but it's too slow. So if we want to reach the environmental goals, we need to connect the existing equipment in order to make sure that we monitor the things we have today, because it will take a quite long time until we have electrified everything. So I think those are some of the challenges and drivers we see in order to get connectivity up and running. So we see that everything is basically going to be connected. So also platform thinking is important there, because if you work with connectivity, it is quite expensive to make a specific custom design for connectivity, and then to import that specifically for one brand or one customer or one volume. That we see a trend here moving into more platform thinking among the customers, which is quite challenging and interesting. So what are the challenges then? We see then large OEMs spend substantially invest in custom designs, and it's really amazing when you see the number of money spent by each OEM here, when you can commonalize a lot of things here. So it is really interesting when we did this analysis to see where do you spend the money, and also one sentence I put in there, the maintenance. In the cases I studied, I saw that you forgot about the maintenance, because you go to start the production, and then you stop. There is no more investment, but it's not true, because you need to maintain this technology, because you need recertifications, the technology is evolving, you need to change stuff, so you are hostage in your own project. So for that reason, I think the platform idea is really important. Shared development between many OEMs. If we go to Germany, the Germans are really good at this. If you look at this, you see that Volkswagen, you see Audi, BMW, they work together on a lot of things here in order to differentiate and to share the development costs, which is really important. So low to mid volume OEMs they cannot afford to make a custom design, so they go directly for the platform designs in order to minimize the investment. And that brings the advantages of sharing the maintenance over lifetime with several different between several OEMs. And the cost for certification, just to take that as an example, this is actually minimum cost, 3 million to make a global certification for LTE. That is the minimum cost. And it takes also 6 months in calendar time. So what if we can take that out of the equation and say, okay, we don't need to spend the 3 million SEK. It's not a fortune, but I think you remember the previous slide I showed, we see that the engineering time is shortening. The OEMs are under heavy pressure from competition, new players are entering the market. You cannot spend 6 months in certification. If you take that out of the equation, you save a lot of time. And we see that this is what is happening now on the market. A lot of OEMs are going directly here. They don't want to take a specific certification. They want to go with someone who has already done that. So certification is a good reason also for not centralizing this function. We have seen over the years several attempts to implement connectivity, for example, in the infotainment system. That is not really a good decision, because that means if you make the slightest change in the infotainment system, which is also evolving quite a lot of new things are happening in this segment as well. That means you need to recertify, and then you have a 6 months penalty time on top of you every time you make a change. So that is really what we believe is important to have. So we see that trends, OEMs are moving to platform designs, not only the small and mid players. We see also larger OEMs are looking at this because they see the invest is huge. So they see, okay, here we can cut costs. We get the same features as the mid-sized brands on the street. We have the same features, but we don't need to pay 3 billion to make the system. I think that is something that is clear to us. We see a clear trend on that. Another trend is that it's complicated, because if you want to have your vehicle, machine or bicycle or whatever connected, you cannot only go to one player and say, can you fix this for me? No, you need to go to several actors in order to get that happening. So a one-stop shop is a preferred alternative. So here we see an opening for supplier partnerships. And I think that's good why we are here together with Wireless Car today, because I think together Wireless Car and Axia, we can actually offer a complete solution to the end consumer. And I think that is a strong argument, because otherwise you always have the problem if you're an OEM and you buy this separately, who has the responsibility? The responsibility is with the OEM. Is the OEM involved in all the details and complexity of this, with the MNOs, with the subscriptions, with the telematic services? I don't think so. I think it's really complicated. You need to build up a complete big department to monitor all these subjects. And then the question is, why should you do that when you can buy this from someone? Just a question. So if we look at the technology trends and challenges, of course, LTE is moving to 5G. Everybody is aware of that. What does it mean? It's not a shift where you change completely technology, like when you go from 2G to 3G. It's not the same, because the LTE products would still work in a 5G network, and that is a very important thing. So we also see that a lot of things are happening on the MNO side, especially on the MVNO side. That means a virtual mobile network operator. We see a lot of them coming on board with really good and strong solutions. So we evaluated several of them, and Webbing is one of the ones that we believe is the most, let's say, widely spread, and they have really a good solution. FedEx is using their services at global level, just to give an example. So that is one thing that we see as a technical trend. One of the complexities is that when you go from 4G to 5G, the size of the 5G module is a lot larger. That is a challenge because everybody wants a smaller box. So that is one of the challenges. The other challenge is that when you have a larger box, it's also more expensive. So here you need to find a way, and this is where we see a lot of customers struggling to motivate the transfer from LTE to 5G. What type of services do we need to launch in our vehicles in order to motivate the additional cost for the 5G module? So we are working here with several customers with this specific question at the moment. We also this is our own strategy to try to find a pin-to-pin compatible evolution so that we can design in a 5G chipset, which is done on our platform. So if a customer says, now it's time for me to switch to 5G, then we can put that inside because we already prepared the power box, the power management system of the module, as well as the physical size in the box. So, 5G performance and 5G LTE handover. So we go into the next, antennas. Antennas is also a challenging thing. If you have an LTE solution, you have two antennas, the transmitting and receiving antenna. If you go to 5G, you need 4 antennas. And you need a physical distance between the antennas to optimize the antenna performance. This means, again, a larger box, and everybody wants a smaller box. So this is a challenge we are struggling with. So we are looking at printed technology here in order to get antennas that we can fit in other areas of a vehicle or a machine or a motorbike. A motorcycle is even more tight. Okay, so I step on it here. You don't want to have this on your roof. This is a test we did with quite a lot of antennas. It works perfect, but it doesn't look so nice. We continue here. Hypervisor and virtualization. If we speak about technology, we believe that is the right way forward because it opens up to reuse code already developed. This is something that has annoyed me a little bit, being in the automotive business for more than 30 years. I see that why do everybody you develop something, you spend millions of rows of code to develop something, and it works perfect. Let's redesign everything from scratch again. How many times have you seen that? It's really, I don't understand why, but I think this is a way where we simplify reuse of existing software. I think we need to be more clever and save the money, save the time, reuse, not redevelop. And hypervisor is really an important part to do that. So this is just some collaborations we have. One of the two things here on this side that is really important, that is when you have a connectivity solution, you want a rapid response. If you stand outside your vehicle and you push remote or unlock, you don't want to wait for 5 minutes. You don't even want to wait 1 minute. So this is something that we've been spending a lot of effort in order to optimize the performance. So we have one of our software engineers, he designed a boat system that is really super rapid. So it is really, it's a development called Punchboat that we brought up in order to really open up the system really quickly. Another thing that is really important is the low power modes. So if you look at power consumption, as the telematic system or the connectivity system in a vehicle or a bike or a truck or whatever is always on, you don't want to have a battery killer in your vehicle. So for that reason, we have spent, I don't know how many millions we spent on investing in finding out a way to make a clever low power mode in the system. I think these are things you really need to take care of. So you see, we can go down to sleep current on 100 microamps, and that is really good considering that we have a lot of electronics that we have to have running. So that is really some things to care. Now we come to innovation. You know, I used to say that I have the most interesting job on planet Earth. I can work with the latest technologies. And I have the worst job on earth. I cannot tell anyone because everything is so secret. But this is our own project, so I can tell about that. So we are monitoring all the ECUs. If we take a car as an example, in a car today, in a modern premium car, you have almost 200 electronic control modules, and all these modules have to be monitored from a diagnostic perspective. So we keep track of all these nodes. We know exactly the health state of the full vehicle, but we don't know how is the most important node, the guy sitting in front of the steering wheel. So this was something that bugged us for quite a long time, and we had several research programs together with RISE, for example, to develop a sensor to recognize if the driver is awake, if he gets a heart condition or whatever. So it was not until we found this solution. It is actually this ring. This is the third generation of the Oura ring. So this is on even on daytime. The first generation was only on nighttime, and that doesn't help. You don't only drive on nights. So we wanted to have this on always. And we said to these guys, when I met with Petri, the founder of Oura, I asked him, what is your strategy with the company? Where do you want to reach? And he said, I want to sell 80 million rings per year, 80 million. Then you should not speak to the automotive industry, because if you have one automotive customer coming on board here, your complete engineering team of 30 people will be completely swamped with work with only one OEM, and you will maybe, if you take Volkswagen, the best one, you will sell maybe 5 million rings. So you cannot go in that path. But if you want to enter there, you can use a player like us. So we can take the automotive development and make that on your ring for you. So this is the collaboration that we have started. So now there is a demo video on our homepage where you can see where we remote open the car. We use the ring for opening the car. We personalize the car. We put the Spotify list on the car. And we also register the heart rate and the respiratory rate. So that means if I fall asleep, we recognize that. We put on the warning lights and we go aside the road. If I get a heart attack, we do the same. We put on the warning lights, take control of the car, and go aside the road. So this is some of the innovation. It's not a product you can buy tomorrow, but it is an innovation project that we are running. So that was my 20 minutes, I think. Did I make it?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Christian, we will have two chances to ask questions to you, because we will have a Q&A when Niklas has spoken, and then we will also have the cafe, right? Which should be used for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back.
And in this intermediate, we can just say that meeting is being recorded. That's what kind of ideas from the cameras and audio. And it's also being photographed.
Fantastic.
Great. Niklas Thorén, Wireless Car. First of all, it's the week of the Women International Day. I think we have at least one, or is it only one? So thank you. Thank you. I think we have something to work on as an industry here, and as a new member, I think we should be better as well.
Sorry,
Daniel.
Niklas, I just,
it was not
yeah,
sharing.
I just wanted, no, I think it was fine. I just wanted to,
No, I don't.
no,
think
it's not sharing.
No, it's not sharing. Fix that as well. Hopefully. Yeah, now it should be fine. Great.
Good. So, especially welcome. So, as I said, Niklas Thorén. I have the fantastic title of being Senior Vice President of nothing right now. That's great. No responsibilities. But that's just because in 21 days I just calculated I will be the new CEO of Wildcard. So right now I have a perfect breakdown. Thank you. But that will change soon. So the Martin Rosell, that I guess many of you know, will soon to be retired. We will keep him. We will get good use of him for 1 more year, but not as this year. We'll get a fantastic intro of what's happening in our industry. It's just amazing, and I've been here not 30 years, just 10 years in this industry, and it's just amazing. It's the best job you can have. And when I started 10 years ago, everyone was talking about connectivity, and it was already the big new thing. But today it is really the new big thing. It's 47%, I think, of all new cars globally are connected. And before the end of this decade, it's 96%. So basically all cars are connected within just a couple of years. And we talk about this crazy money that we are spending, you are spending, everyone is spending. And sometimes it's just nuts because it's a lot of tech geeks. One of them that just want to do it a little bit better, and you can argue if it's really the right business value, but they are spending so much money because technology is going so fast. We talk about 5G, we're talking about cloud, we're talking about the cool innovation like the new ring that we was just shown. All is happening at the same time, and of course everyone is afraid of the new entrance into the market, but also the tech giants. Everyone here knows that Apple is spending more money than we can dream of every year without showing anything. Will they ever show anything or not? And when will they show something? Will that then be something, or will we just, we don't know. And that's the really fun part of this. Wireless car. I mean, I hope you all know of wireless car, but I must show you this. We were founded here in Gothenburg 22 years ago. We actually celebrate 20 years celebration just last fall due to COVID. But 22 years working with connecting cars. We have 650 people right now, most here in Gothenburg, but also in US and in China, and soon also in Munich. We are launched globally in over 100 markets. We have, I think, an impressive list of customers and even a more impressive list of programs that we launched together with a lot of customers over the years. 3 things that I want you to remember. We work with the things that moves, automotive. We work with cars, of course, but also with 2-wheelers. We are really hopefully able to announce something around that as well. So it's really around what things that moves. But that's it. We're focusing on that. We're focusing on this industry because it's quite a big industry. It's quite complex, and I think we can do the best to our customers when we really are focused on that. We do that with speed. I mean, I've been working agile and working really dedicated with team development for as long as I've been a leader, and so has Wireless Car. We really try to make speed, both with the help of technology, but also with the help of teams. and with the speed of software. But we'd also do it together. That's why it's fun to be here together with Axia. It was my first business trip, I think, as new in Wireless Car, was to Linköping and to discuss one of our customers at that time together. We cannot do this by ourselves. We all here are needed actually to make this happen. It's so big, it's so complex, we need to work together. Now I will help you to remember those 3 things. This is our logo. The black part is automotive focus. The blue part is the speed, the software, and the angle of this is actually the Earth angle, and that's because we want to collaborate and work together. So this was 22 years ago. Someone was really clever and used this to set up our logo, and it's still valid 22 years later. I think that is fantastic. Of course, we're extremely proud of our customers. This is our current list of official customers. There will be some more to be added here, but not yet to be announced. We need some more paperwork, but still it's fantastic. We are connecting 9 million cars right now, and that is growing. That was the 5 minutes that I promised there should be more of. So that's all of that about Wireless Car. So coming back, taking one step back a little bit, looking at what is happening. You all know this, I'm sure of that, otherwise you will not be in this room. The software-defined vehicle, all those money that you are spending, that we are spending, that everyone is spending in this industry, to really fulfill the promise. That's why we go to work. We should create more speed, we should create more flexibility, but we should also be efficient. That's really why we're doing this, isn't it? We talked about speed. We're talking about that we need to be faster because we are hunted by newcomers that could skip some steps, but we are also hunted because the expectations are higher and higher, and software is helping us with that and making that software more present in the car. I mean, look at Tesla. They are the greatest thing that has happened because they can. It's what we have known for a long time and said someone has done, and that's so much more powerful than just showing slides. And they show it in reality, and that's really what we can all do if we want to, but we need to want to do. Flexibility is of course more and more important, and we are living in, unfortunately, crazy times. Ukraine is one really sad example where the world is really heading. We need to be prepared, and software can help us with that. It could make us able to adjust faster compared to if we don't have that capability. So that's extremely important. Efficiency. Yeah. Do you want to save 6 months for certifications? Do you want to save money? Then you have to use on what you have already done. You cannot just do things over and over again. But then you need to be smart when you design this. You need to think of this from the beginning. The software-defined vehicle is fairly new. I guess it's 2, 3, 4 years around. This is true since I guess we founded Wireless Car, and I guess it's true when we first actually did the first with Volvo Trucks. The value, it's quite easy to understand. It's been very much driven of the value for the consumers. You want to have feel safe, so it's great to have e-call or crash notifications. You want to have a warm car when you go out in the morning and you want to control it with your iPhone or your phone. So you have, there is a clear value for the consumers. Then it's also a clear value for the society. I mean, if we can reduce the number of accidents or reduce the response time for accidents, we can save lives. And we can also, we have all the challenge of saving the environment to make this earth livable for our kids and the future. And here, we still want to move around. We still want to be able to transport ourselves. And here we can, with the help of this, make smarter moves, making the transition to EV vehicles faster and easier. And that could help us. This is fairly, I think everyone knows, and seen But the big money, the big savings are when we connect this and work with, for instance, the fleet companies. We have done a lot of work together with fleet companies to really use the connectivity, how maybe instead of filling in some forms or saving some data, the car, you just leave the car and based on the connectivity, all the data is registered. If there has been some accident, we can report that as well because it's been monitored. So there is a lot of value if you start to really use what we have here. Then, of course, one of the biggest values in the OEMs themselves, making the car or the things that moves better. You're saving how big battery do you need? Yeah, that's depending on what you intend to use it for. And how can you do that? How can you really make sure you have that? And that data is available. Just use it. Yeah, I just shocked you here. I will not go in any details around this. It's not the purpose, but it's still complex. And I think we saw that when Christian was talking. A lot of details in this. It's going from this great fancy pictures to very quickly to those diagrams. And that's a trick to manage that. That's a trick to handle that. And it's not just that is technical, it's also the variety of services and usage. And it's connectivity, it's the journey, it's safety, it's the EV, it's shared mobility, but also the internal usage. And I want to spend a little bit time about the core, the essential part, the connectivity, where we work together with Axia. And others, I should say as well, of course. Christian was talking about the explosion of newcomers into this industry. It's quite amazing. We see a huge trend of consolidation where we see big OEMs go together to actually have money to spend in their transformation. But at the same time, we see hundreds, and it's actually hundreds of newcomers that go from zero to actually producing something. And of course, EV is helping, but it's also the general possibilities that we see in the market. And I'm sure you don't even recognize all of those, but most of them, I guess. All of them need to handle that complexity that we have just talked about. All of them need to do that, and all of them need to be connected, because you cannot today produce a car without being connected. It's just impossible. You will not be on the market. And for us, the core part is really to designing it around the car and the cloud. Not seeing it as two separate things, and seeing it as one thing. It's when you see and you build, we talked about containerization and how you can reuse code within the box or within the vehicle. You need the same in the cloud, but you need to do that together. You need to make the teams that are working have APIs both towards the vehicle, because that needs to be able to change. It needs to have the pace that should change. But you cannot redo your software with every change of the car. I mean, that's just impossible. Then you are lost immediately. And the same thing, of course, if you're doing things on the cloud side. And here you need then APIs. And we're working with Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and several different consortiums to try to make some standards here, and failing. We know that we are failing in setting standards here, and that's so sad, because it means that we will never be not getting the ecosystem that are needed to really drive the full innovation here. We're not giving up, Soon we can start travel again, so then we can meet them and push them where you need to meet them. But you need to think about this. You need to build this when you're setting up your system, because otherwise you will fail when you're starting to build in the services. And the ones that have done this will have a pace that is so much faster. Because if you can develop it at the same time in the car and as you do it in the cloud, the pace you deliver new services Yeah, then you're not talking about 9 months, then you're talking about 1 month of delivering something new all the way. And we did with one of our customers just launching one of those services. Our work was maybe in 1 month, then the legal discussion on what the statement that you should sign was 6 months. So there you could have some standards, so then we come to 1 month. So that's part of it. What you need to do here as well, of course, is thinking about security. It's and data privacy. We just had an wake up call from different OEMs that China now have their own GDPR law, and they're pushing that. And how will that impact all of us, and how will they work with that? I will not go into any detail of this, but I want to show a little bit what is really important of the core things in this. And of course, I mean, Christian talked a lot about the vehicle connectivity and the parts that we have in the vehicle, power consumptions, SIM management, MNO providing, MNO management. Today, 2022, how hard could it be? Everything you have, everything you buy, a toy is connected. How hard could it be? Damn hard, sorry for the word, but it's still quite hard to make sure that that truck or that bicycle or that car is having the right connectivity with the right to the right cost all the time, and that you are aware of the state of that and can manage changes of that. So it's a lot of part. I think actually I included just one of our slides where we're talking about how do we work with downlink management, uplink management, how do we handling anomaly detection. I mean, there are a lot of different cars there with great connectivity devices that go berserk. and you need to manage that, because otherwise suddenly a system stops to work, because there is one vehicle sending this strange message that will completely flood your system, and you need to handle that. You also need to handle that the MNO goes down and goes up and send you suddenly the messages that has been there waiting for the last 2 hours in 1 second. How do you handle that without that your system go bananas? You cannot talk about something of a connected car today without talking about over-the-air update or making that car updatable. It's one of these things you need to think about from the beginning. You cannot talk about the software-defined vehicle without talking about how will you keep that updated. Today, I mean, there are terabytes of software in each car. And you want to keep that updated over a period of 10 years. But if you do that in an unsmart way, then you need to update that every week with the full system to make sure that that is, and then you can just start to calculate money, you can start making time. You need to manage this in a really smart way, and you need to make sure that all cars get this. It could be an update that are of security reasons that you need to push out quickly. It could be a new feature that you want to get paid for. You need to manage that, and you need to manage that in a smart way. Security, roles and rights, who can access what data, and it's of course connecting to the vehicle, but also outside the vehicle, and you want to sell your data, the right data that you have allowance to sell, but you need them to sell that with the right permissions and with the right access management. You need to make sure that you follow regulations, and here comes a lot of regulation is in this area, and it happened quickly. Who have the right to access data? You need to have that set up from the beginning. Otherwise, suddenly you will be shut down because the government will tell you that it's not allowed. And then you have the services. I mean, like call center services. We talk about positioning journey, vehicle status, remote services, smart EV routing, subscription management. Soon, it's time for questions, don't worry. But I want to add with development portal, because you want to make this available. I mean, I was talking about the APIs, the connectivity, how can others build on this? And it's so crucial that you build up that from the beginning, so it's easy to use, it's easy to work with, because no one can do this by themselves. We just have heard that here. No one can do this by themselves. And every OEM wants to build specific new features, but if they should build all this, then they spend a lot of money, and a lot of them do that. But what really matters is, of course, what do the customers see? How do we can use the data smarter? Can we learn more things? And if you want them to be able to do that, you need to be able to build upon something. So we have our own developers portal where you really can have the APIs and can start using that from scratch and using the tools from the cloud side. And I couldn't resist, even if I shouldn't. So I end, of course, with a sales pitch here. If you want this, talk to Daniel, and he will give you the
I have the order.
But we have packaged this, of course, in a way, and especially to Christian's point, a lot of spending a lot to do this by themselves and seeing that as a core, and then you need maybe parts of it. But a lot of the newcomers and then even the medium size cannot afford it, and still they need it. And that's where we see really that we can work together as well, because if we package both the connectivity in the car and the backend, and we can say we know it works because it has worked the last 22 years, then we have a big jump start for the OEMs that work on that. So with that, I think it was questions and answers.
Yes. Christian, do you want to stand up as well?
Yes.
So, do we have any questions from the audience? Now you have the chance.
Only nice questions.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. Christian, you were referring to a one-stop shop, and now we've seen this quite extensive range of services and things that could be required. So if you both would elaborate on that, so what would be required to have a one-stop shop that is actually working and that is fulfilling the needs of the OEMs? And would you then, from Wireless Car's point of view, support that? I'm quite interested in the boundaries of a one-stop shop.
Yeah, okay.
What does it contain?
Okay, so we have partnerships with several different companies, like Wireless Car is being one. We have also the MNO on board. We have a global solution, global NAD, global subscription, global certification. Everything is on board the new platform that we just developed. Then we just take the Wireless Car system, bring it on board. Then we have the possibility to offer our customers to say, okay, you speak to us. We take the responsibility for all suppliers behind us, so that you have one taking the responsibility, because this is the challenge normally. That if you split the responsibility and the OEM is going back and forth and yeah, it's the MNO is the problem. No, it's Wireless Car. No, it's Axia. You need to stop that. And we said, okay, we are willing to step up. We can take the responsibility. We take the suppliers that we know will deliver what we need, like Wireless Car, and then we bring that on board and we offer one package. This is one way to do it. Another way would be that Wireless Car come to us and say, okay, we are the tier ones. Can you be the tier two for us? And we say, yes, of course. So I think from our perspective, business-wise, we are really flexible on handling this. But in the end, we need to solve the problem for the customer. We don't want to have several different interfaces.
Great. Do you have any comments on that, Niklas?
No, thank you for the kind words. It's never a one-stop shop. I mean, that's stupid to say, of course, because you need to develop this, but you can get so much to jumpstart. I mean, what we see is that we have been developing for some of our customers their own platforms for several years, spending, and this is true, hundreds of millions of SEK doing that. When they can basically get it for free, it's not for free, but it's so much more affordable compared to doing that. And then you need to spend to develop your unique application, if it's on your iPhone, if it's what you need specific, if you have a specific use case and want to showcase a ring, then you can do that instead of spending all the money making sure that you can handling rogue messages. But you can choose, and we say choose to spend your money on your innovation and not on the things that we have sold for the last 20 to 30 years.
Great. I think we have a question from Volvo Cars. Okay.
Yes. Hi, I'm Martin Ivarsson, a colleague of Johan's at the Open Innovation Arena. Johan, the chair of Philomatics Valley. We work with foresighting, among other things. So I have a question coming from the outside, maybe a little bit. So what if this industry of ours got disrupted? Where would that come from? Especially I'm thinking about the platforms built by e-scooter companies today, for example, and or the battery swapping companies on another continent. You have Sun Mobility in India, you have Gogoro in Taiwan, and they're spreading, and they're building platforms with then energy management at the core, but it could grow and possibly do the same thing that you've shown on the architecture slides, but in disruptive new ways, let's say liberated from legacy lock-ins of this industry. Do you have any comments? Do you see this also might happen?
Yes, there is a market change all over the place, let's say, but I think that it opens up a lot of opportunities as well. But I think one of the key elements on our operation, what I'm pushing inside our organization is speed, because everything is moving a lot faster, and if you don't catch it, you miss the train. And this is one of the points that we discussed here. If we look at the development, if you start a complete new connectivity program for a vehicle line, and it takes 18 months until you are in production, I'm sorry to say, but look on the market. The new players, they don't spend 18 months on that. They are up and running in 6 months, and they have more services than what you do if you have 18 months, because they develop new services during this time frame instead. So I think this is something we need to learn from, and we need to understand this in order to move up and run faster.
Of course it will happen. I mean, Tesla is one of those disruptors, really showing that the software-defined vehicle, I don't want to get into the details around that, but it's happening. It's a great thing, because we need that. Otherwise, there will be a real disruption that really take a complete market, and still it's so complex to really produce a car. That's the problem. If Tesla could have done what Apple did, just mass producing phones, and then Samsung, and wiping away Nokia, that could have happened with cars. But the supply chain, the complexity of really managing that, is still keeping giving the current OEMs some breathing space. But let's use that to really get that capabilities. And then I think it will happen. There will be some disruption. It's not going to be, I don't foresee it's going to be that moment that it's going like that, not that quick, but it's happening. It's happening now.
Thank you. We have one more question, no?
Yeah.
That's the last one.
If that's the last question, all right. There might be online, I'm sure.
No, I've checked the chat. I don't think there is any questions online. If there is, please chat them to me now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so you mentioned before on the fact that this is not possible to do everything yourself, kind of hinting you should buy it from somebody. But Tesla has had a vertical integration policy where they do a lot of things themselves. So like some comments from Wireless Car on what you think of Tesla's performance. Are there other actors where you could look at strong sides, opportunities of not doing everything yourself?
Yeah, I think, I mean, you should be impressed by Tesla. I mean, they did not do everything from the beginning, and then they take part by part. If it's glass design, not so successful maybe all the way, but that they try at least and want to be specialized there. If they take chip design that they did just use what they had and then taking that. I think you should be, of course you should do the things that matters for yourself, because you need to be in control, but I don't think it's, I think they are doing a mistake if they believe they should do everything themselves. Because then they will have, I mean, we are making a bit fun of part of what Tesla is doing because they have to prioritize and they have their app, for instance, we have much better apps in this audience and from the companies of this audience than there is from Tesla because they have not prioritized that. They think that is not, they have not have the engineering capacity to do that. Maybe that's the right thing, but I would say, I think you need to do both.
Also the security concept, that's one of the reasons I will not buy the Tesla, because I think the security level is really crappy. But I think there is of course a lot of things that is moving the market because they opened a window which nobody believed could be open initially, and they really show that we can download software to the vehicle online. That's really strong, and this is helping us. It's not a threat for me, it's an opportunity. It just shows that it's possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, I think we're closing the session. To the onliners, first, I want to apologize that we placed the laptop a little bit so the picture was not excellent, but you had pictures to look at all the time and the audience. I hope you survived that. Thank you for this time. Thank you and goodbye. To everyone here in the room, what will happen now is that we will be served some wraps and drinks, and there will be coffee as well around the corner. We have reserved half the cafe, but we have decided to not make it like a super private place. So if you want to continue networking, working together in the afternoon, you just continue, buy a new drink every now and then and stay here in the afternoon. But let's try to be on this side, half side of the cafe. If you don't find space there, if you don't want to stand up, use the other rooms here and in between. Next event, we said 7th of April?
7th of April, yeah.
Probably here.
Probably, no, it will be here.
Yeah.
It will be here.
Yeah.
Registration will be on the Telematics Valley website. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. For next time, we will probably send out a direct Outlook object to help people online participate.
Yeah.
And that will be a longer session, so it will be more of an afternoon session.
Yeah. And the cafe part is booked until 1, but I mean, as I said, it will just kind of like, yeah. With that said, thank you so much, Christian, Niklas. Great presentations, excellent knowledge sharing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Excuse me, will you share the recording?
Yes.
Yeah, so the recording will most probably be published on our website. And it's also available in a Teams meeting, but it will be shared on the website and published within a week probably.
Vi ser, vi ska alla saker tillbaka till det.
Sådär, tack.
Vi har träffats några gånger, ja. Lars Bröne, vi har känt Erik och så vidare. Ja. Jag är på väg till er. Jag försöker, Andreas är i
Bergvall.
Ja, han leder den här veckan kanske. Ja. Tror jag, när jag fick något. Så vi planerar att vara 27-28.